What Army rule did you break that actually made things work better? I was a staff sergeant running supply operations for a 200-man infantry company. Army regulations required all supply requests go through proper channels. Soldier to squad leader to platoon sergeant to first sergeant to company commander, then, finally to me. Process took minimum 72 hours for basic items, week or more for anything complicated. Meanwhile, soldiers were going without essential gear while paperwork crawled through bureaucracy. The breaking point came when Private Johnson's body armor failed during a firefight. Ceramic plate cracked, vest torn. He needed replacement immediately for the next patrol in 18 hours. Following proper channels meant waiting 4 days minimum. So I broke the cardinal rule, bypassed the entire chain of command, set up direct communication with every soldier in the company, gave them my personal radio frequency and told them to contact me directly for urgent supply needs. First sergeant found out within a week, called me into his office, furious. Sergeant Williams, you're undermining military hierarchy. Soldiers don't talk directly to supply without going through their leaders first. I explained the situation with Johnson's armor, how following regulations could have gotten him killed. First sergeant wasn't buying it, said I was creating chaos, breaking discipline, but something interesting happened. Supply efficiency increased 400% overnight. Response times dropped from days to hours. Soldiers got what they needed when they needed it. Mission readiness improved dramatically. More importantly, I started hearing about problems nobody else knew about. Equipment failures that squad leaders hadn't reported up the chain, safety issues being ignored because they seemed too minor to bother leadership with. One soldier contacted me about his rifle jamming. Turned out 12 guys in his platoon had the same problem. Faulty ammunition batch that could have caused casualties. Chain of command had no idea because each soldier thought it was just his weapon. Another time, 3 different squads independently reported problems with their night vision goggles. Pattern suggested systemic failure that required immediate investigation. Would have taken weeks to identify through normal channels. The informal communication network I created became an early warning system for equipment problems, supply shortages, and safety issues. Information flowed faster and more accurately than through official channels. Battalion commander visited our FOB 6 months later, noticed our supply efficiency ratings were highest in the brigade, asked what we were doing differently. First sergeant tried to explain without mentioning my regulation violations. During the briefing, several soldiers spoke up about how quickly they got essential gear. One mentioned contacting supply directly. Commander asked me to explain the process. I laid out the whole system, expected to get court-martialed. Instead, commander asked detailed questions about implementation. How did I manage the workload? How did I prevent abuse? What checks and balances existed? Turns out he'd been dealing with supply problems across the entire brigade. Traditional chain of command was creating dangerous delays. Asked me to write up my procedures for distribution to other units. Within a year, Williams' method was being tested at 6 different bases. Army Supply Command even sent investigators to study our operation. My regulation violations became official pilot program. The key was maintaining respect for leadership while creating practical solutions. Squad leaders still knew what their soldiers needed, but urgent requests could bypass bureaucracy when lives were at stake. First sergeant eventually admitted the system worked better. Said he wished he'd thought of it himself. Recommended me for promotion based on innovative problem solving. Got promoted to sergeant first class 6 months early. Assignment to Pentagon Supply Division to help rewrite procurement regulations. Spent 2 years turning my rule breaking into official policy. Sometimes regulations exist for good reasons, but sometimes they exist because nobody questioned whether they still made sense. The best leaders know when to follow rules and when to fix them. That broken rule saved lives and improved operations. More importantly, it taught me that innovation often starts with someone willing to challenge the status quo, even when it means risking their career.